Alrighty, so now we can go ahead and populate the purchase using the order and the order items. Now we can get down to the real fun part. So this is kind of like the grand finale of calling the REST API, and we'll call it via the checkout service. So I'll call this checkout service.placeOrder. I'll pass in the purchase object that I just created and populated with all that good data from the form. Do a .subscribe. And now one thing I'll do slightly different here is I'll add code for calling the REST API and having the results coming back. And also I'll set up error handling. So this is something that's slightly new here. So we'll have something for next, and we'll also have an entry here for error. So next is the success path. Error is the error path. Okay, so just think of next as the happy path. Error is the exception path or error path. So for the happy path, they'll send back a response. And now I can use that response and do something with it. And so we know that that response has our order tracking number. So it's going to come back as JSON, and I can give the user a alert message, and I'll make use of the backticks. So notice here I'm using backticks because I'll make use of a template string for the output. So the order tracking number and then the template string is the $ curly brace that I can embed inside of this string that has the backticks on it. And I'll say response dot order tracking number. So that's the information coming back in the JSON. And that's from the Spring Boot code that we created a little bit earlier. All right, so that'll give the user a little pop-up with their tracking number. And then also I'll just write a little comment here to myself. I'll come back to this in a bit, but we want to reset the cart. But give me 1 second. I'll come back to that. So if there's an error, then I want to let the user know about the error. So a similar approach here, I'll just say alert. And I'll use the backticks again because I'll make use of the template string approach, just like we did up above. So there was an error, and we'll make use of this error.message. So that JSON will have an error message, and we can display it using this code. And in most online guides, you'll see the curly brace for this up on the previous line. So I'll kind of clean that up just so it'll follow what you see in normal online tutorials and blogs and stuff as far as coding style. Once the user places their order, then we want to reset the cart and clear it out. So we will define this new method here, reset cart, because it's not part of our app as of now, but now we have just created it. I'll remove some of the boilerplate code. So we'll reset the cart data, and we'll also reset the form data. And finally, we'll navigate back to the main products page. So I simply set the cart items to an empty array that basically clears it out. I will make use of those subjects for total price and total quantity. .next 0, basically send out 0 to all subscribers there, so they kind of reset themselves, like the status component and so on. Let's go through and reset the form. And again, once they finish with their checkout, we'll send them back to the main page. So that router, that's what we injected earlier in our constructor, we use that router to navigate by URL to /products. And kind of just scrolling back to the top. So this is calling it REST API. So this is kind of the real work here for this checkout operation.